Hello and welcome to the March 2017 edition of the Plympton Podcast. I'm Andrew Hill. Coming up this month, canines, statues, plans for Mayflower 400, what should happen with the old Plympton Hospital site, and other thorny planning issues.
The Plympton Podcast.
But firstly, we start with an application which came before the Planning Committee recently relating to a field at Ridge Road, which had two neighbours at loggerheads with one another. Planning Officer Amy Thompson outlined the application to the committee.
So the application has been referred to Planning Committee by Councillor Terry Beer. It's a small field on the outskirts of the city. A previous planning application was previously approved at Planning Committee, you may remember it. It was for an agricultural building. The proposal seeks to it's a retrospective application for the consent for the installation of entrance gates, diesel tank and a water tank, and some ground level alterations to the back of the field. The submitted info stated that the entrance gates were installed to protect the land and ensure that the animals for the agricultural use that we previously agreed at Planning Committee are going to be safe. The diesel tanks are there for the machinery that will be used on site, and the water tanks are there to provide water for the animals. The ground level alterations were to ensure that the ground was in a good condition for the proposed animals. It is not considered that the proposal would have a detrimental impact on the appearance or the character of the area. The ground level alterations and the tanks will be largely screened from public view. While the entrance gates will be visible to the public, it is not considered that the design impacts significantly on the appearance of the area. Due to the site's location and the scale of the proposal, it's not considered that it will have a detrimental impact on neighbour amenity. The local highway initially did object to this proposal. This proposal was going to go with the agricultural building that we already discussed, but because there was an objection from highways, there has been amendments to the scheme. So the initial concerns raised by the local highway authority was that the walls that you can see here were constructed on land that the applicant didn't have authority to build on, and also had some concerns on visibility. Following the concerns raised by the local highway authority, the plans have been amended, and these walls will be brought back to allow for visibility and not be on the land that the applicant is able to build on. Therefore, the concerns raised by highway, there isn't any anymore. They've just asked that a condition has been added to ensure that the site is purely used for agricultural use, because this is the kind of access that will only suit agricultural use. The site is set outside the Plympton St Maurice conservation area. The changes within the field are considered minor in scale and will not be visible when viewed from the conservation area. Overall, the proposal is considered not to have a detrimental impact on the local landscape, conservation area or neighbour amenity, and the concerns raised by the local highway authority have been met, and therefore the application is recommended for conditional approval.
Public Speaker Peter Coleman explained why he was against the retrospective planning application being made by his neighbour Stephen Hawkin.
Why do people go down the route of retrospective planning applications? Why has Mr Hawkin dumped hundreds of tons of building waste in the field before applying for retrospective planning? Why? Because he knew there was no way that a planning application would have been granted. So he does it first, then applies for retrospective, knowing full well that the planning department will do little, if anything, about it. It just gets passed. Why is it that he has ignored an enforcement notice issued 8 years ago? Why? Because he knows that the planning department are not really interested and will do nothing about it. And let's not forget, it's a criminal offence to ignore an enforcement order. I could just go on and on, but let's be clear about this. It's not really all Mr Hawkins' fault. Yes, he is beginning to push his luck, but he is playing the system. It's the system that's wrong. And more to the point, it's the way the planning department administers the system. I spoke to a planning officer the other day, and he said to me, "Oh no, we don't tell people what to do, we negotiate." What does this mean? Yes, there is sometimes a need to negotiate, but sometimes you need to just say no and follow it through to the end. I firmly believe retrospective planning should be banned, because all it is a way of getting round the system. What I would like to see is the field return to its previous state. It is an agricultural field. It's not landfill. But I can't see this happening. The next best thing is someone saying, OK, we'll give you retrospective planning, but there are rules and regulations that have to be adhered to, that everyone has to adhere to, and there will be conditions. And if you do not want to adhere to these conditions, we will rescind the planning application. It would be nice to see people following these things up to see if it is happening, because it won't. We have complained many times about all the people and businesses that have taken over fields in the area, but nothing has been done. Let's start saying no. Let's start taking control. Let's start letting people realise that you can't get your way through a very poor system. Perhaps the planning department needs to be more accountable. And regarding this extra that was dumped in the field the day before yesterday, excuse the expression, but it was a bloody great lorry, and it's got nothing to do with agriculture. It's a lorry that had waste on it. It shouldn't be just dismissed. The Highways Department have said it's dangerous to use it for anything other than agriculture. It's been used, it's been dismissed as unimportant, and I think it's all wrong. That's it.
And later on we'll be hearing from the applicant himself, Mr Hawkin. The Forever Hounds Trust came to Colbert Community Centre last month, along with almost 30 greyhounds and lurchers. I went along and met up with Katrine from the Trust, who told me more.
Okay, we are sort of like volunteers of an organisation called Forever Hounds Trust, and that's an organisation who rescues mainly retired greyhounds and lurchers. We take dogs in from all over the country. We're a national charity. And we sort of like, for the very first time, tried this event today, which is a meet and greet for anybody who likes greyhounds, sighthounds, who's interested in just getting together, chatting to like-minded people, or as well like people who are interested in rehoming one of our dogs, who might think about getting a sighthound as their next pet. And also like to ask people or to get some people maybe to help us out at events.
Now, you refer there to sighthounds. What does that actually mean?
Sighthounds is just sort of like a category of dogs, so to speak, which sort of they hunt by sight. So that's where they get their names from. And sort of like under that fall, like the greyhounds, lurchers, whippets. You get like the Irish wolfhounds and so on.
So like this one we've got here now, very attentive looking around at what's what.
Yes, yeah, she does. They do like, obviously they hunt by sight, so they do like anything that moves fast and quickly. So you have to be sometimes quite careful of, I'm not going to say little dogs, but like, squirrels, rabbits, anything like that.
Okay. So what sort of background do these animals come from then?
Mainly the ones we take in are retired racing greyhounds. And they sort of come to us usually at an age between 2 and 4 years old when they retire from the tracks, either because they didn't make the grade, they're not quick enough, they sustained injuries. The lucky ones, you have to say, they come to us because they're sort of either brought in by their trainers or we pick them up from the trainers themselves. The not so lucky ones, I think everybody knows sort of what happens to them.
So lurchers are raced on greyhound tracks as well, are they?
No, lurchers not. I mean, the lurchers we sort of like get in, they quite often come from Ireland as well. There's more working lurchers as well, which we sort of like take in, which sort of been used for cursing. And then sort of like, again, once they're sort of like of no use to the sort of like, as a working dog, they sort of like quite often get abandoned or mistreated. They land in pounds. And then once they serve their 7 days, they're either sort of like put to sleep or get picked up by a charity.
So having come from a working background for so long, how difficult is it for these animals to make the transition into being family pets?
Oh, not at all. I think they adapt very quickly. I mean, if you sort of like bear in mind that a lot of them haven't been in any homes for sort of like their racing life. So say for her 4 years, she would have been like kennelled, only in the track like training. She sort of like adapted very quickly. I think some of the greyhounds, they have a little bit of a problem with stairs, or they can have, or just like things, it's quite funny. We have like a French door that they sort of don't see that as a door, that they try to walk into it. But it's just little things. And generally speaking, they're really quickly to adapt, and they make lovely pets. And they're also very, very chilled out, very relaxed, bordering on lazy. They are actually lazy. And, we've got 2 cats in the household as well, so they're very compatible.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to ask about, whether there are considerations about other pets in the family and so on.
Obviously, some of them, if the prey try, can be that high that they wouldn't be compatible with small animals. But it depends entirely on the animal. And as I said, ours is absolutely fine with like cats. And coming back to the laziness, I do think that she actually sleeps more than the cats. Honestly, she does. So
you've obviously had this open day here today. Why have you chosen Coburg as a venue for this?
Because I think mainly because a lot of our volunteers are the people who come to our events. They're sort of from around the Plymouth region. I come from Plymouth as well, and we were just looking for a place like a community hall to meet up. And seeing I walk my dog here, so I've just popped in. And I think we're certainly going to use the hall again. It's
so although you're a national charity, you obviously do have a Plymouth base then?
Yes, we basically, the way we work, we've got like sort of volunteer teams dotted all over around the country, and each like team sort of like covers smaller areas. So we've got, for example, for Devon and Cornwall, we've got is like another one of my colleagues, Sarah. She's the events coordinator for the sort of South Devon area. I cover more like this part of Devon and a bit into Cornwall as well. So we sort of like share smaller areas out, and then we sort of like organise events, try to get some social get-togethers like this one to sort of like get people together.
Back at the planning committee now, and landowner Stephen Hawkin took to the floor to defend his planning application concerning his field at Ridge Road.
Good afternoon, councillors, ladies and gentlemen and all. My name is Mr. Stephen Hawkin Esquire. I'm an indentured civil engineer, 3 generations of civil engineers, and proud to be a Plymouthian. I would like to thank all you members of this planning committee for previously granting myself a unanimous verdict of 13. I and members of the Plympton community salute you all. Thank you. This is now the final chapter in our ongoing saga with my land. We have worked hard and long with the necessary governing bodies. That's myself, my architect Ben Onni Esquire, the professional Amy Thompson, Rebecca, and the highways, etc., etc. It has been a long and drawn-out battle, but that is the wrong word. It's been a pleasure to work with the council. We had to do a lot of adjusting, but again, we came to a satisfactory conclusion. About my land itself. Not everyone can be happy in this world. There's always someone against you, but that's life. We are just normal, average, hard-working family men. We work, and our business is from Unit 7, Wembury Industrial Unit, Wembury Park, Plymouth and Devon, where we've traded for the last 37 years. I'm proud of that fact. The land. The land has been an issue. I am so passionate about my land. I will never, ever let my land go. It's my life. I will never give up. This application today is before you for enhancing the land. I've done everything possible that I could do to make it right. The gates I've amended for security to stop trespassers and fly tipping. I've not installed mirrors on behalf of the highways like my learned person against me. This, again, is a breach of the law and actually a criminal offence. But I don't wish to go down that road. I have, in myself personally, had drawings drawn up for the drainage. It's an advanced drainage system. The system itself on the land, there's a lot of water coming off the land, splaying as we call it. I have designed a drainage system to stop any water going onto the highways. I should be commiserated for this. I've also wanted to install a bonded diesel tank in case my animals need backup for the water system if there's a failure, also under the health and hygiene rules. I've also installed a bonded diesel tank, again, according to health and safety law and DEFRA law. I've done everything by the book. I have worked with the environmental agency and every agency possible. I want to do what is right. Now, going back on the land for the 300 mil overlap, that is 12 inches. Councillors, members of the public and all, 12 inches, that's what a farm plough turns over 12 inches. I want to do the right thing. On my land, with me excavating for the agricultural building, the soil is superior soil, Class A grade soil. I don't want to get rid of that soil. It's so good. I want to keep it for my land. Hence, the 300 mil, 12 inches overlap. Please, councillors, wake up and smell the coffee. I applaud you all. Finally, may I say the fencing in my land is for the security of my animals. I've had the support of you all from the start. And I beg you, please, 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 we want to work with you. We have the backing of every possible person. And I just want to close this final chapter so I can build my land for my animals. I am passionate about this, and I plead you all to be as passionate and support me. Thank you. Thank you all.
Councillors then went on to debate the application, and Councillor Bill Stevens raised a query.
Is there any way we can put the condition on to insist that work starts a lot sooner than the standard condition that we would have for non-retrospective applications? Normally we say commencement within 2 years or whatever it is. Is there a way that we can say that we would like this to be done a lot sooner?
As chairman, I'm not in a position to answer that, but I'm sure that Coley or Amy will comment.
Thank you, Chair. There are specific timings given in the conditions. So for the site entrant walls and piers, we've given 3 months, and the external materials to be agreed within 1 month. So we've reduced the time from what we normally would give.
Is that to completion or commencement then? Where are we?
So it specifies in the condition.
Which one? Sorry,
condition number 1, completed within 3 months.
So if that's not done within 3 months of, I presume, the decision notice, then the application or the permission lapses. Is that correct?
They would be contravening their planning consent, so again it would be an enforcement issue.
Once the various councillors had had their say, Committee Chairman Kevin Wiggins moved to the vote.
You have a recommendation to grant as per your agenda. You've had it clarified on the conditions and the timescales. Recommendation is to grant. All in favour, please show. All against. Any abstentions? That's granted.
In an ancient stunnery town, with programmes just for you, the Plympton Podcast.
Plymouth and its 2 neighbouring local authorities of South Hams and West Devon have agreed a joint local plan for Plymouth. Deputy Council Leader Patrick Nicholson outlined its key points at a recent meeting of the full Plymouth City Council.
Within Plymouth, 71 sites will be allocated to meet the priority need for housing in the area, and a further 33 sites for employment uses. My Lord Mayor, 86% of new homes within Plymouth will be on brownfield sites. It is also important to highlight that we have looked at hundreds of sites across the city, many of which have been put forward by developers, and since the summer consultation we have rejected an additional 122 sites. The plan sets out a strategic policies for delivering sustainable development, planning for retail both in the city centre as well as local and town centres, working with our neighbours to drive growth, strategic connectivity, infrastructure and natural environment. And on the natural environment, I am pleased with the innovative approach the plan takes to protecting important landscapes and local green spaces. We are designating 6 strategic green spaces covering 1,900 hectares of land. This includes Central Park, as well as land at Saltram, Sherford, Derriford, the Plym Valley and Woolwell. The plan also protects 700 hectares of land on the fringes of the city, which we have resisted from proposed developments. There are also a further 169 local green spaces that have been designated following suggestions made by the local communities in earlier consultations. All of this is backed up by a recent capital programme announcement where we are allocating over £14 million towards enhancing the city's natural assets. The plan consolidates and strengthens Plymouth's role as a major regional city in the southwest, unlocking Plymouth's regional potential by utilising its regional significant assets such as the university and colleges, the naval base, its key economic sectors of marine, advanced manufacturing, medical, health and knowledge-based industries. The plan also sets out our development policies on healthy communities, housing, the economy, place shaping and heritage, the natural environment, transport and infrastructure, climate change, flooding, coastal management, and how we are going to monitor and deliver the plan together. Lastly, it is important to recognise that the policies and proposals contained in this plan have been evidence-based, draw upon the latest data and analysis, whilst building upon the foundations of plans and studies dating back as far as 2004. This is an important point which might easily be overlooked. The plan, Lord Mayor, before us today is the continuation of an agenda for growth that we have pursued cross-party for well over a decade. My Lord Mayor, in conclusion, it is perhaps worth reminding members why it is important to have a local plan. By putting in place a local plan, we, as local councillors, are making the decisions about the city's future, having listened extensively over the last couple of years to local people. We can use this plan to drive forward the city and the thriving towns and villages that surround us. We are also doing what we can to use the plan to guide our investment decisions and also to influence the investment decisions of others to the benefit of our area. We can use the plan to attract funding from a variety of sources to make the plan a reality. And of course, we can use the plan through the planning committee to reject unsustainable development and development that does not contribute to the vision it sets out and the policies it puts in place. My Lord Mayor, in conclusion, this is a bold and imaginative plan which will allow Plymouth, West Devon and South Hams to go from strength to strength. It protects all that is good within our communities, but provides for the future needs of our communities that we're here all to serve. And I therefore, through you, Lord Mayor, commend it to the Council.
For Plympton Councillor Terry Beer, the plan addressed some significant concerns that she'd had.
I fully support the joint local plan. It brings forward a new and expanded schools across the whole of the joint local plan area and meets the needs arising from the planned housing development. We are also making provision to extend our special needs education where appropriate. I strongly support the fact that we have put more thought into schools where they are needed. And can I also say I particularly welcome policy Dev 10, which will prevent unnecessary garden grabbing, which has been a real issue in my area in Plympton and raised many times by me at the planning committee. So I fully support the joint local plan, Lord Mayor. Thank you.
While Plympton Plymstock Library seems safe for the moment, a number of others in the city are proposed for closure. Libraries are part of the portfolio of Cabinet member and Chadderwood councillor Glenn Jordan, who was questioned on the subject by members of the public at a recent meeting of the council.
What equality analysis has been undertaken on each of the libraries proposed for closure and each of the proposed options for the future of the library service, and where a significant negative impact has been identified, how will these be mitigated? And when will this information be completed, published and available to the public? The consultation equality impact assessment states that in easy-read format of the Plan for Library Summary, large print and printable versions of the consultation document will be available on the website. As of the 28th of January, this was not available on the website. When will the Cabinet member rectify this omission, and will he extend the consultation period in order that all members of the community have an equal timescale to respond to the consultation? Has an accessibility audit been carried out on each of the library buildings, and where is this considered within the weighting factors in Appendix C, and when will this information be completed, published and available to the public? Where other venues are being proposed for the library service, e.g. click and collect, what assessment has been made of their accessibility including opening times, etc. Where venues such as children's centres are proposed, what safeguarding assessment has been undertaken? And then what specific considerations have been made to identify and mitigate against the impact on those with limited disposable income who are seeking employment for each of the libraries that are proposed to close?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ria. Regarding the Equality Impact Assessment, an Equality Impact Assessment has been completed for the public consultation on plans for library proposals. Individual EIAs will be carried out on all libraries when the final proposal is submitted to Scrutiny Committee after the consultation ends. Regarding the accessibility formats, we apologise that there has been a delay in providing the accessibility format as described through the EIA. Although we have not yet received any requests for an alternative format, we will ensure that easy-read versions of the plan for libraries submitted is available by Friday the 24th of February in our libraries and on the website. We will also ensure that large print versions of the consultation document is available in libraries by Friday the 17th. The document can be made available in different languages and Braille upon request. Printable versions of the consultation document are already available on the website, and all our library staff are fully trained to assist members of the public to complete the consultation online. The survey software the Council uses complies with the minimum accessibility standards as set out by the Government. The consultation portal will work with screen readers such as Browser Allowed, and the font size can be increased on the screen for the visually impaired. The company that provides the consultation portal does not currently provide a list of additional accessible software that is compatible. However, if someone raises a specific accessibility software request with the Council, then it can be put forward for consideration to their product manager. The consultation period will run until Wednesday the 19th of April, and we will not be extending it. It is considered that members of the public who require an accessible format will still have sufficient time to contribute their views to the consultation. Indeed, we are putting in extra measures as above to encourage their engagement. Regarding the accessibility and alternative premises, accessibility audits were undertaken on existing libraries when the Accessibility and Equality Act 2010 was introduced. All libraries construct or developments after 2010 comply with Part M of Building Regulations 2010 Amendment 2016. Accessibility audits have been carried out by Disabled Go on all our libraries apart from Central Library. These were carried out by their independent surveyors. A full accessibility assessment of alternative premises will be made when the plan for libraries proposal is being finalised. Consideration will be taken on any premises accessibility. We welcome suggestions on alternative premises from the public and councillors. These will be assessed on their accessibility and suitability. Before agreeing outreach venues, advice will be sought from the PCC Early Years team to ensure that the proposal services delivered from the Children's Centre is appropriate and fulfills safeguarding requirements. Regarding access to information technology, our proposals will ensure a minimum of 12 public access PCs at each location. Central Library has 42 PCs. This will enable us to provide quality job clubs in each of the 7 proposed locations with trained library staff and partner organisations. The library conversation told us that 72% would like help with job seeking and 71% with digital skills training. So we propose to develop a consistent and enhanced offer addressing these requests.
Another thorny planning issue to come before planners last month was the site of the old Plympton Hospital. Planning officer Simon Osborne outlined that proposal.
The site is the former Plympton Hospital site and is therefore brownfield in nature. The application is for the construction of 5th floor dwellings, 18 of which would be affordable housing. 36 of the dwellings would be accessed from Market Road, with the other 18 fronting onto Lavinia Drive. The main issues to consider are the layout and design of the development, impact on trees, highway considerations, drainage, the impact on infrastructure and housing provision. Members will have noted that a number of the public objections relate to the introduction of a street frontage onto the eastern side of Lavinia Drive. As explained in the report, this is considered welcomed in design terms, as the new houses will positively address the street. It will result in a normal relationship with the existing properties on the west side of the road. The proposed footpath at the bottom of Lavinia Drive links the development and provides easier access to facilities in Plympton. The police liaison officer has no concerns with this scheme. In general, the proposed layout ensures safe and overlooked streets and spaces and is considered to comply with policy. The officer report and addendum report addresses the loss of trees on the northern boundary and within the site. A number of replacement trees are proposed and the council's tree officer therefore has no objections. Surface water attenuation is proposed through underground storage. Extensive discussions have taken place between the applicant and the lead local flood authority and the Environment Agency, both of which are now satisfied that, subject to final details being secured by planning condition, the proposal is acceptable and will provide betterment to the existing situation. The proposal would provide 103 parking spaces, 1 space per one-bedroom dwelling, and 2 spaces for larger dwellings, and an additional 3 visitor spaces. This is considered acceptable in this location. Traffic generation from the development is considered to be similar to the previous hospital use and is expected to result in 32 two-way vehicle movements during the morning AM peak period, which is between 8 and 9 o'clock, and 33 movements in the afternoon peak, which is between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the evening. This equates to approximately an average of one movement every 2 minutes in the peak hour. The traffic impact is therefore considered acceptable. A number of concerns have been raised about the impact on education infrastructure. The local primary schools in the area are largely at capacity. The local education authority has not objected to the proposal, subject to a financial contribution of £125,171 towards the expansion of Yelpston Farm Primary School. The applicant has agreed this in full. The contribution will part fund an expansion project to add a form entry, which is 30 places per year group. Once delivered, this will help to mitigate the impacts of the development. Likewise, there are capacity issues in GP surgeries in the area. However, the NHS has again not objected to the proposal, subject to a financial contribution of £22,171 towards the development of a strategic vision for health and wellbeing hub in the Plympton area. This has been agreed in full by the applicant. In conclusion, as explained in the officer report, the impacts of the proposal are considered acceptable. The proposal would provide much needed affordable and market housing on a fairly long-standing brownfield site. The application is therefore recommended for conditional approval, subject to the signing of a Section 106.
We'll be hearing more on that application later, but now back to Coburg to hear more about the Forever Hounds Trust. So has the objective today been to find people to rehome the animals or to raise the awareness of your charity, or a combination of both?
A little bit of both. I think it's also meant obviously to sort of get some new faces to come, which we did achieve. I mean, it's been really good. There's lots of new faces today. And those people, hopefully in the future, if they consider, having another dog, might consider one of our hounds or a side hound crow in general. But also, for the people who volunteer for us already, it's just a nice chance to sort of get together, have a chat, just relax a little bit. And then, of course, for people to sort of come and meet us and maybe think, oh yes, quite a nice bunch. I fancy sort of helping out myself.
So you're looking for volunteers as well as
yes,
people to actually take the animals to rehome
because
them?
we always sort of need, we've got our core volunteers, but we sort of really need more volunteers to sort of just help out, because if you do sort of a day event somewhere, and especially if you take the dogs, it's sort of just nice if everybody just gets smaller slots.
Mm-hmm. So you do seem to have quite a number of the dogs here today. How many roughly have you got here today?
I think we done a count earlier and we counted 26 dogs and 25 people.
So you've got to have volunteers to be walking these every day then, basically, have you?
Yes, we have say for Devon, we've got a kennel, one kennel, which we sort of hire space, and we've got volunteer dog walkers there who walk our dogs. before they're being rehomed. But I mean, all the dogs here, they've found homes.
Yeah. Okay. So they're sort of in kennels. You're not like foster homes before they actually get to permanent new people.
A number of foster homes. I think most of our dogs go into kennels, and the turnaround is quite quickly actually. So they sort of like go in and then go out very soon. The dogs that go into foster are usually the ones who sort of like have either like from a behavior or health issues that they need a little bit more like TLC before they're ready to go on to a home. So that's the dogs we sort of like put in foster.
I mean, the one we've got here now, she's got quite a placid temperament. I suppose that is part of the reason why they get rehomed so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much all like this one here. They're really laid back, really calm. And as I said, they're really, really easy. It's just like, in a sense, I always say because I mean, myself, I was always like a cat person, I have to admit. And the idea to get a dog was actually my partner. And I was like initially like, oh, really? and then when we had her, like that's just amazing. And I mean, anybody who sort of like, I think it's the perfect sort of dog as well for anybody who never had a dog before. Perfect.
So typically what sort of age are these dogs when you come to the stage of rehoming them?
I think they're usually sort of like between like 2 and 4 years old when they come sort of from the track.
And what sort of age would they normally live to?
About sort of like 10 to 12, sometimes a bit older, like 14. I mean, I've heard about a Crown who was 19, but I think that's quite the exception. But yeah, they've got like sort of, I think, quite a good lifespan for a dog.
And so what's involved in actually rehoming them? Do they sort of have to buy them from you, or how does it work?
Yeah, if you're interested in rehoming a dog from us, sort of just get in touch. We've got a website over one of our volunteers. And then you receive a call initially from one of our rehoming officers. And they're just going to sort of like have a little chat with you, seeing what you're looking for. Because what we do actually, although you can have a look on the website and go, oh, I like this dog, we sort of try to match the dog to you. So basically we look into your circumstances, look, how's your working pattern? Do you work? Do you have other pets? Do you have children? What sort of temperament are you looking for? How does the dog fit into your life? And then we sort of like try to match you with the dog we think is suitable to live with you, which might not always be the dog you maybe had in mind. But because of that, we've got a really low return rate. So most of our dogs, they go into a home and they stay there. We've got very little dogs coming back because it didn't work out.
Yeah, so as an organisation, you get to know a bit about their temperament and personality before they are rehomed.
When they come into when they come into the kennels, they're all recessed character. They're sort of like cat tested. They get a full health check. They're like spayed and neutered if that still needs to be done, microchipped. They get a dental, and then sort of like once those sort of they know the character of the dog, how it fits in, and they sort of like already for rehoming. And
so what is do they have to sort of make a donation in return for getting the animal if they're successful?
It's about like £175 like donation we ask for, which is basically just covering our expenses like in sort of kenneling, the sort of like neutering, spaying, microchipping, injections they get beforehand.
And if people were to get one, how would they know that the animal was in a fit state of health before it was handed over? Is there some sort of check that's done beforehand?
Yeah, obviously. As I said, like, I mean, when they come in, they sort of get a thorough health check. And I mean, all the dogs that go out, I mean, they're sort of like in tip-top condition. We wouldn't sort of like send animals, or they wouldn't be rehomed if there were any ongoing issues. Like,
I mean, you mentioned a low return rate. So if in the unfortunate circumstance it didn't work out, you would take the animal back again?
We always take them back. I mean, even if like you had your animal already for a number of years and something in your circumstances changes, we always take them back.
So if there's anyone interested in getting in touch, then is there a telephone number they can contact?
Yes, there is. I haven't got it in the top of my head. But yeah, if they have a look on the website, which is www.foreverhoundstrust.org, then there's all the contact details there. There's an online application form as well, and also telephone numbers how to get in touch.
Okay, and have you been pleased with the sort of reception you've had here today?
Yeah, it's been like really, really, really good. I'm really pleased. As I said, because it's the first time we've done this event, we really didn't know like what to expect, like how many people. And as I said, it's really good to see lots new faces. And I think definitely do it again. Okay, well, good luck. We hope perhaps you'll be able to rehome some of the dogs following the interest people have shown here this afternoon. And thanks for telling us about your organisation. Okay, thank you very much.
Just for you, the Plympton Podcast.
Now for more from the Planning Committee meeting and its deliberations over the plans for the old Plympton Hospital site. Louis Dulling for DCH, the company proposing to build the new homes, explained the benefits the scheme would bring.
Good evening, Chair and members. My name is Louis Dulling, and I'm the planning consultant for the applicant, DCH. I speak on behalf of the applicant in support of your offers of recommendation for approval. DCH, just to give you a bit of background, are a registered provider of affordable homes and operate throughout Devon and Cornwall, where they provide, manage and maintain over 23,000 homes. They have a strong and growing commitment to Plymouth, with nearly 3,000 homes in the city and over 110 in Plympton. DCH strive to provide good quality homes that people want to and are proud to live in communities where they invest and where people want to live. Increasingly, DCH provide a wide range of homes, including homes for open market sale. In an environment of decreasing public subsidy, DCH do this so that they can provide their own subsidy to keep providing affordable homes of a mixed tenure and in sustainable developments. It is a strength of DCH that profits generated from the sale of open market homes are directly reinvested in the provision of affordable homes rather than to shareholders. In terms of the application itself, the proposals will see this disused brownfield site redeveloped to provide 54 new homes, a third of which would be affordable, providing a mix of homes for shared ownership and rent, and helping to address the significant housing need in Plymouth. From the initial design stage, DCH were mindful to consider the existing neighbours, for example by setting the building line back along Lavinia Drive further than the previous hospital buildings. As the design evolved, DCH held 2 well-attended public consultation events which helped to inform the design further. Following engagement with several neighbours to the site, they also incorporated some adjustments to the design, for example introducing planting areas onto the Lavinia Drive frontage and ensuring that prior review is not overlooked. An assessment of the local highway network has concluded that the highway impact will be similar to that of the former hospital use. The local highways authority has no objection to the proposals and considers it to be acceptable. The proposed dwellings are located within an area of least flood risk, and flood risk will not increase on the site or elsewhere with the construction of the proposed homes. Further to the discussion with the Council's tree officer and a meeting on site, it has been agreed to retain good quality tree groups along the northern boundary. DCH recognised that there are a number of trees which will be removed through the proposal. However, many of these trees are of low quality, and the proposals will see a substantial planting programme of new trees at a ratio of 2 new trees planted for every 1 lost. We recognise that there is some modest objection to the proposals. However, DCH have carefully considered this and feel that their proposals will deliver significant benefits, and these include the reuse of brownfield land, making best use of this brownfield land site by providing 54 homes, deliver a high quality environment which will make a positive impact on the built environment in the area, deliver 16 affordable homes for the city. These are just some of the reasons why DCH are proud to present these proposals to you and believe that they are balanced, considerate, and will also provide quality homes which are worthy of your offers of recommendation of approval.
UKIP councillor and committee vice chair Maddie Bridgman was initially concerned about the fate of trees on the redundant site.
I've had a number of emails regarding the trees. Can you go back to your proposed landscaping plan, please, Simon? Because there's approximately 7 trees alongside the brook that are going to be retained. But I think that's now. I welcome the addendum report. That's the first thing, because I think the 2 questions that I actually had have been addressed in that addendum report. But the first one is, can you actually clarify the brook, where the brook is in relation to the picture? And if it is 8 trees, are the actual 8 trees that are going to be retained?
Yeah, it's unfortunately the plan didn't come out very well. The brook is just running along the northern part of the site, so it runs between the boundary and these properties here. In total, out of the 20 trees on that part of the hedgerow, 12 are being retained, and on that particular part of the hedgerow, 13 are being proposed to be planted. It's hard to point out. The retained ones are in groups, so you've got 3 or 4 there, you've got another one there, you've got another 3 there. In all, it's a total of 8 retained on that hedgerow. Does that help?
That's great. I just wanted clarification because I know there's some residents actually at home watching this on the webcam. They've asked sort of certain questions about this. The other thing I wanted to say, actually, I'm actually very much in favour of this development from what I've read from the report here, especially on page 161, item 24. It's good that the garden size has been increased because nowadays so many new builds, they've got postage stamps for gardens. So that's the first thing that I really liked about this application. And the other thing I want to draw your attention to was on page 163, the fact there's actually 1.8 parking spaces per dwelling is a relief because especially in my ward, parking is absolutely at a premium. So with that in mind, I just wanted to draw that to members' attention because I think it's a really good and tasteful development. So thank you. That's all I want to say.
Councillor Johnny Morris indicated how he was weighing up the application in his mind.
I think it looks a pretty good site, and obviously we are in desperate need of housing. I think in terms of people who already live there, clearly the biggest impact is going to be on current residents on Lavinia Drive. If I were standing on the existing inhabited side of Lavinia Drive, I would look out over the road. There would be cars parked, say, with their rear towards me. The footpath would then be just beyond the cars and then the new houses. Is that correct?
Just get the transport officer to clarify exactly the position of the footpath, if he may.
It's a sort of standard configuration. One of the issues raised when this was first proposed was that the houses that are currently in Lavinia Drive park on street. So they park on street in front of their houses. So one of the issues was raised, they would lose their parking because the terrace of houses that you can see on that plan there, opposite them, would have off-street parking set at 90 degrees to the road in the configuration of a usual driveway arrangement. So the way we've overcome that is we've asked the developer to set the frontage, inset his frontage, if you like. So we've got another 2 metres of extra width on the carriageway opposite the existing houses. Then you have the new 2-metre footway, and then you have the banks of car parking spaces. So it allows the new residents to park easily, getting in and out of their drive, and it retains enough space within the street to allow existing residents to park on the street. Is that clear for you?
Yes, I think that's a lot clearer. And also, if I can just check, there's a new pedestrian footpath from the top of Lavinia Drive going over to the east, yeah? Is that a new?
Yeah, it's just this one here from well, I say the bottom because it's at the bottom of the hill, but yeah, it just links into this new development here, and obviously gives easier access to the recreation ground, etc., etc.
Okay, anybody else wish to comment on this application? No? Well, the recommendation you have on your page 153 is to grant conditionally to section subject to section 106 with delegated authority assistant director to refuse if not met. All in favour of the recommendation, please. Any against? Any abstentions? That's carried.
Back to libraries once again now, and there was another question to Councillor Jordan from a further member of the public.
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to Councillor Jordan for taking the petition today from my daughter Lucy, who's the reason I'm here. My question is, in what week was the library visit survey carried out? What was the methodology and why were those dates chosen? Why has the council chosen to use demography from the 2011 census rather than the 2015 population data used by the Office for National Statistics? And how will the impact of proposed neighbourhood population trends for the next 10 to 15 years be included, e.g. rising birth rates, housing growth, etc.? Where within the weighting factors in Appendix C is consideration given to the location and relationship between the existing library and other neighbourhood and community facilities, as well as the specific needs of different demographic groups other than by age? Is the Cabinet Member for Culture able to confirm that closing Efford Library will not result in significant monies having to be repaid to the DCLG and the EU, who helped support building the scheme as part of the regeneration of the area? What is the financial impact on local residents of the cost of travelling by public transport to the remaining 10 proposed locality libraries from the neighbourhoods where there are proposed library closures, given that at present 2/3 of visitors walk to their local library? The school library service has been ruled out of the scope of this consultation. Which schools access the City Council library service, and what is the cost to the Council of providing this service? Some schools will have based their annual 3-year budget plans on children being able to access their local library during the school day. What formal consultation has been undertaken with schools in the proximity of the libraries proposed for closure? Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Councillor Jordan, once again, can you provide a response, please?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Nikki, and your daughters for bringing the petition. It was grateful to receive. Reference the questions regarding the library visit survey. The library visit survey was carried out on the week commencing the 18th of May 2015 and the week commencing the 16th of November 2015. These surveys are carried out in the same month every year. These dates were chosen because they represent an average week, i.e. not school holidays. The methodology used is that the library staff and volunteers manually record every person that enters the library. This is national standard practice, which is reported to CIPFA, or the Chartered Institute of Public Finance and Accountancy. Regarding the demographic data, we have chosen census data as it is nationally recognised as comprehensive and robust. The Plymouth Plan provides information on future trends which will be taken into account, as well as library-specific information, e.g. conversation. Most of the libraries identified to remain in the plan for libraries proposal are located in or are close to the 3 growth areas identified in the Plymouth Plan. Sambudo Library is the exception. We consider that to not apply weighting was the fairest way to interpret the data across the 10 criteria. The equality impact assessment carried out on every library will address factors such as demographics, literacy levels, language needs, etc. It is expected that the development of the outreach service will address the potential partnership with community facilities and needs of different demographic groups. Regarding Efford Library, Efford Neighbourhood did benefit from South West Regional Development Agency funding for some regeneration initiatives. It is not possible at this stage to confirm whether any money will be needed to be repaid. Due diligence will be undertaken to ensure that any monies are repaid where required. Regarding financial impact on library users, 80% of our current users use the 7 libraries proposed for staying open. For the remaining 20% of current users, the new users will feel that having a library within 2-mile radius of any household is an acceptable offer. We would also encourage members of the public to use the online service. Enhancing the digital offer is a key part of the plan for libraries proposal. Regarding the school library service, our proposals do not affect the school library service. The school library service is a trade service, and information regarding budget is restricted as it is commercially sensitive. We are in the process of engaging with all schools and encourage their feedback on any concerns. Thank you.
Another hot planning potato last month was a proposal for a large statue of a woman, Bianca from Othello, to be put up outside the Theatre Royal. This drew a diversity of views.
I would look forward to the day when I can appreciate that. That might well come. It might not, who knows, but that's half the fun.
This tree was planted in 1948 as part of the resurrection of Plymouth after the war, and it's going to be destroyed for that, and I think that's quite objectionable.
Change is always unsettling, and perhaps explains why some people might feel wary of it.
I think this is transforming Plymouth. There's been, I think we said 27 submissions, only 1 supported the project.
It hasn't grown on me at all. It's not to my taste at all.
It is an attractive feature, and I support the concept.
They're going to look up and say, gee, what is that? And they'll start discussing it.
I think this is visionary.
We need to make sure that when the eyes of the world are upon us, we show them the kind of great city this is.
I'm trying to be delicate. This will take the person underneath the private parts and posterior of the subject.
It is a bold theatrical statement.
And I think this is fantastic.
And I am so sorry, but it's not to my taste. I just cannot get it at all.
And it will make it an obvious target for vandals, lewd photos, aerosol sprays.
Public art, unless it's exceptionally bland, always should be controversial.
For those detractors of what I consider to be a rather wonderful piece of art, there is actually the last words of Bianca herself in Othello, which are, "I am no strumpet, but of life as honest as you that thus abuse me."
Oh, there we go. What can I say?
What indeed, other than that planners went on to approve the application. Mayflower 400 takes place in the year 2020, and part of that project will be a heritage trail. Plympton Earl Councillor Terry Beer had a question about it.
How do we plan to get public and schools involved with the development of the trails, please?
Councillor Mrs Beer, who are you directing that question at? Councillor Jordan or...?
Councillor Jordan or the team?
Right, so is this one for you, Charles, am I thinking?
Yes, I'm happy to take that.
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you very much. So as Councillor Jordan pointed out, we're developing this trail locally here in Plymouth, and that's what these works are for, but also part of that, and leveraging off that, a trail that's going actually across a number of communities at a national level. Alongside that trail is not just the physical side of this, but also the virtual side and the kind of events, the programming side. That we are including an educational stream and a volunteering stream and a series of public engagement events across all those locations. We've recently been reviewing the prioritisation of the Plymouth part of that and the Plymouth activities, and we already have ongoing a considerably progressed development of curriculum activities and educational part of that, which will bind in as we go through and make sure that at each of these locations within Plymouth and actually across the overall national trail, there are interactions and complete tie-up between that and the national curriculum, and also leveraging the opportunities for this in terms of the volunteering programme and the skills and development that can be gained through that.
Good news. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
And alas, that's it for this month. Production music has been by audionautics.com. Hope you've enjoyed this edition and the features we've had, and until the next time, bye for now.
Here in our ancient stunnery town, with programmes just for you, the Plympton Podcast.